We are currently in the midst of a shift in the future of the DC movie universe, which will be led by James Gunn and Peter Safran. What's really interesting and quite unique about this exciting new direction is that James Gunn is very active on Twitter. DC and Warner Brothers has been plagued by rumors and speculation over the course of the years, but James Gunn has been setting the record straight. We don't really need to speculate or pass rumors, as Gunn has completely debunked several rumors and just replies to questions on Twitter asking about certain possibilities for the DC universe. Any possible speculation we could have about this new universe comes directly from the man himself behind the universe, James Gunn. I made a video not too long ago going over everything we know about James Gunn's DC universe, but in the time since, which is a little bit over a week, we have learned some new things, all of which comes from James Gunn himself. James Gunn did mention that a few projects will be announced in January, so there's a lot to be excited for next month, but for now, this is everything we have to go on. The biggest story to go over has to do with the Green Lantern HBO Max show, which was in development since the beginning of HBO Max. I think it was the first DC show they announced that wasn't already on the DC Universe subscription service like Titans and Doom Patrol. It did cast both Guy Gardner and Alan Scott before going without news for years, and eventually it was reworked from a story that spans decades, focusing on Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, and other lesser-known Green Lanterns, compared to the main ones that is, to a show about one of the main ones, and arguably the second most popular Green Lantern, John Stewart. There was a rumor this week that this show was cancelled, which didn't really surprise me, considering the aforementioned years of going without news, and also the recent DC Universe shakeup. However, this isn't the case, at all. This was quickly debunked by insiders, but also James Gunn, which may sound like non-news, a show was rumored to be cancelled, and then it was confirmed that it isn't cancelled. However, if anything, this rumor, and then James Gunn's debunking of said rumor, has basically rejuvenated the life in a show that I genuinely thought would never happen. It makes it more clear than ever that the show is in fact happening, at least eventually, but not only that, we now have reason to believe that this show will be part of James Gunn's universe. It's possible that the plan here is for the Jon Stewart show to have more grounded stories that take place on Earth, while the Hal Jordan-focused movies have grander space adventures. The show will be called Green Lantern, while the movies will be called Green Lantern Corps, and all of that is just speculation, but it is definitely possible. But even if it does take place on Earth, the show would definitely still need a really big budget for Jon's powers alone, and if I'm being honest, I don't really have much faith in them to pull off a character like Green Lantern on a TV show budget, unless it's the most expensive TV show ever made. Not only did they fail with a movie budget in 2011, but DC TV doesn't really have a great track record when it comes to characters with CGI powers. Characters like Martian Manhunter on Supergirl or Beast Boy on Titans are fairly infuriating to watch at times due to the clear lack of budget necessary to pull them off. Lanterns don't have a CGI form, but their powers would require a lot of CGI, unless they just don't use it very creatively. If it's just green beams, or green swords and a green gun, which I could definitely see them regressing to if the budget calls for it, because really the Green Lantern's powers are limitless. They can make anything with their ring, and a TV show budget, I'm not necessarily sure it could pull it off. And don't get me started on the space adventures and the Guardians of the Universe and the Green Lantern Corps. I don't know if all those things are possible on a TV show budget, but again, even if it's on Earth and entirely about Jon Stewart, even the powers alone would be much better in a movie series. I mentioned all of this because when the rumor came out that the show was cancelled, I wasn't just not surprised, I was actually a bit hopeful, since the rumor also indicated that it was because James Gunn has other plans for the character, and that's the reason the show was cancelled, because I am genuinely skeptical that they could pull it off on a TV show, but also, more than almost anything from this new universe, I would love to see a Green Lantern Corps movie franchise. I honestly believe it has the possibility to be the next Star Wars, as in an epic space-based movie series, even potentially depicting a war among the stars. And while a TV show with the exact same premise would be incredible, again, it's not really possible unless it has a Game of Thrones level budget, but even then, it would still be better as a movie series. So if they were to do something with the Green Lantern Corps anywhere, I would choose a movie franchise, and at that point, I don't know how interesting a TV budget Green Lantern will look in comparison, especially if that means that Jon Stewart won't be in the movies. Either way though, either if they do a movie franchise and it's great, a TV show and it's great, or both and they're both great, the day definitely looks brighter for the Green Lantern Corps to potentially be released from their general reception Blackest Night that began in 2011 and hasn't ended yet. Also, the day my previous video came out, it was officially confirmed that Dwayne Johnson is out as Black Adam. I mentioned in that video that it does seem like that's the case. Insiders are saying that is the case. And then it was officially confirmed, so I don't really have much to say about it that I didn't already say in that video. It's a good thing. Moving on. Everything else from this video is from James Gunn's Twitter, either tweets he replied to or tweets that he liked. For instance, this tweet, which hints at plans for Deathstroke in the DC universe. This isn't exactly surprising. Deathstroke is one of the most popular DC villains. We have seen plenty of Slade in live action as a Green Arrow villain, as an enemy of the Titans, and as the planned main villain in Ben Affleck's Batman, which did never get made. For this new universe, if I had to make a prediction, I would guess he will be the main villain of either the first Teen Titans movie, or if that doesn't happen, or it happens first, then a Nightwing movie, before possibly getting his own TV show. I don't think he'd get his own movie, but a TV show definitely seems a little bit more possible. He definitely is a character that they could pull off on a TV show budget. In fact, they've done it before. James Gunn also liked this tweet, asking if a Green Arrow movie would be on the table for the new DC universe. This, coupled with a reply to a tweet I mentioned in a previous video where Gunn mentioned that Green Arrow was one of his favorite heroes as a child, plus the whole Green Arrow existence in the DCU boiling down to a single mention on his show Peacemaker, confirms that at the very least, Green Arrow is a priority for James Gunn, which is great. Green Arrow is also one of my favorite heroes as well, who wasn't included at all in 2/3 of the DC universes in the 2010s, those being the DCEU and the DCAMU, although to be fair, the other universe that I didn't mention was literally named after him, so I guess it evens out. For the new universe, I'd love to see a movie with both Green Arrow and Black Canary, which finally shows their iconic relationship done well in live action, and wouldn't mind both heroes being founding members of this universe's Justice League, or at the very least in the first Justice League movie. Another tweet that James Gunn liked was somebody hoping that Nightwing and Red Hood would be a part of his plans. This could mean a few things. It might mean that he's not exactly talking about Nightwing and Red Hood, but more so Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, as in we'll be seeing Dick Grayson become Robin, and then maybe become Nightwing, and then Jason Todd becomes Robin, and then he dies. It is a 10-year plan with movies and TV shows and video games. It's entirely feasible. Or what it more likely means is that the universe will already be semi-established by the time we start watching it, and that Dick is already Nightwing, and that Jason is either already dead and comes back to life on screen, or maybe he's already the Red Hood, and the first time we see him is maybe in a Red Hood and the Outlaws movie or TV show where he's already on a path of redemption. This fits with my hopes for the new universe that I talked about in a previous video, which is for the universe to be a bit established, and for the Bat family to already be established as well, and for Tim Drake to come in as the current Robin as the universe kicks off. I'd love to see either Nightwing or Red Hood get a solo movie or their own TV shows. If I were to choose, then I'd give Nightwing a movie, but Red Hood a TV show, where it's not just him, it's also the Outlaws. But if I'm being honest, Dick Grayson really needs a good modern day adaptation because he hasn't had one yet, so here's hoping this will be it. In response to a tweet saying that Rian Johnson, the director of Glass Onion, mentioned that Dave Bautista is the best wrestler turned actor, a fan replied that he hopes James Gunn or Matt Reeves cast Bautista as Bane, which I'm talking about because James Gunn liked the tweet. Now this may mean that Gunn has plans for Bane and that Bautista is his first choice. He has worked with him in the past a lot of times. Or he's just a fan and he wants to see Bane in the Reeves universe, which he has, as far as we could tell, virtually no control over. Now, we don't actually know the Batman situation in this new universe. We don't know if there are certain characters that are being reserved for the Matt Reeves universe, and what characters are being used in James Gunn's Batman world, but I could definitely see Dave Bautista as Bane, a lot more so in James Gunn's world, because, for one, he's worked with Gunn like 4 times before, but also because Bane as a character is not as grounded as the Batman world has been, unless they ground him a bit like they did in The Dark Knight Rises, but I don't want to see that. I want to see an actual Bane, which would probably work a lot better with James Gunn's universe, which, if I'm guessing, will have a lot less of a grounded Batman who can feasibly stand up with the rest of the Justice League against superpowered threats. Gunn also responded to a tweet asking if any DC properties not set in the new universe will come out, to which he said that this is actively happening. This tweet used the word Elseworlds, which got certain people thinking that Gunn confirmed that there will be Elseworlds stories in movies or TV shows, but I personally think that this is just talking about movies like The Batman 2 or Joker, which are just straight up DC movies about the regular versions of these characters. At least that's true for Batman, which aren't based on any Elseworld stories. They are just DC movies not set in the new universe. Gunn also responded to a tweet asking if he's seen and liked the show Doom Patrol, which he said yes to. The show really fits his vibe. It's like really weird characters who aren't incredibly popular, like the Guardians or certain members of the Suicide Squad, but I don't think this really means anything. I just think that he liked the show and he's genuinely replying to a tweet. This doesn't mean that he's going to do anything with the Doom Patrol, even if it would definitely fit his world. I don't see it being a priority for the beginning of this new universe. But speaking of this new universe, James Gunn mentioned that there will be a new intro for the new DC universe. I do like the current intro. I mean, it looks cool. It's just that, like, Cyborg feels a bit out of place. He's not one of the main 7 most prominent heroes. Characters like Nightwing deserve to be there a lot more, but also Green Lantern being as prominent as he is in that intro was always weird because he's as prominent as he is, but then he doesn't appear in any of the movies. So hopefully the next intro, or more accurately and more importantly, the next universe, is better. So that is basically it. That's everything we learned about this new universe since the last video I made. Basically, it boils down to the Jon Stewart show is happening, and it will be a part of the new universe, that there's plans for Deathstroke, that there's plans for maybe a Green Arrow movie, that Red Hood and Nightwing are a part of the plans, that maybe Dave Bautista will appear as Bane, and there will be a new DC intro. That's basically everything, so let me know in the comments down below which one of these things you're most excited for, or which one of these things do you think is actually not happening. And if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Bye.